Hi, this is Misha, and I wanted to do an update video on the Springfield 1903. We did one last year looking at the 03 and the 03A3, talking about the development history. But then this rifle came in today, and I was just pretty darn happy with it. I have this thanks to Jay. There was a seller on Gunbroker that had 4 or 5 different 1903s, and originally he was going to buy one off of him. He ended up losing the bid. I ended up winning the bid by literally 1 cent. But the seller had this. If you look here, the receiver. Well, maybe this way. It is a 1903 Mark I, and I've never had a Mark I. And I knew that when buying it, and the price seemed fair to me considering the condition. But then when it came in today, I was super happy that it had this pistol grip type stock known as a C, or type C stock. I was actually already kind of looking for a gun with a C type stock because I've wanted that, which I really like because this gun kind of fills 2 holes at once in my collection. I'm not a big 03 collector just because of the money these go for these days, but this one was priced very fairly because it's a World War II rebuild, and the condition is, it's been worn. It's not new, and so high-end collectors kind of turn their nose up. But I just wanted a good example piece, and this is serving great, not as 1, but as 2. So to add to our original video, the 1903 Mark I, which this is, was built in 1918 and 1919, and it was built so the 03 could be converted into a semi-automatic rifle. Now, Forgotten Weapons, CN Arsenal, several others have very great videos on the Pedersen device, so I'm not even going to try. Obviously, I don't own one because they're exceedingly rare and expensive. It was a neat, interesting concept. You basically just took your bolt out, replacing it with a new bolt, which was a semi-auto, firing kind of a pistol caliber, almost like an M1, a prototype of, a predecessor of the M1 carbine round. It was still 30 caliber because we're still firing from the same bore, but it was shorter and smaller, kind of a pistol cartridge, and it held 15 rounds in magazines. So it was the idea you could kind of go to a semi-auto with a relatively high capacity, even if it was a little weaker, for trench fighting. They had also experimented with 25 round extended mags for the 30-06 version, so there was ideas to get the capacity up during 1918. Anyway, the major difference is we have this cutout in the side of the receiver here. That served as an ejection port for the Pedersen round. Really, other than that and the device itself, the only difference with the Mark I, the trigger and sear were modified a bit to work properly with the Pedersen. So a couple of internal changes, but of course they still worked with the standard bolt and firing 30-06, and that's where most of these ended up. The Pedersen device was essentially a failed experiment, so much so that the US military ordered most of them rounded up and destroyed. So that's where the Mark I came from. They were only produced for a couple of years. This has a serial in the 1,100,000 range. And that was it for that. Moving on, the second thing this rifle does, it's a representative of a 1903A1. We went from the 03 to the 03A3. But what about the A1 and the A2? Well, the A1 was basically any rifle with this pistol grip stock. This stock was designed around 1929, went into production in 1930, and was really first made for match shooting. That's pretty much what it was mostly used for in the 1930s. But when in World War II, the US military wanted this to become the new standard stock for all 03s because it pretty much is the exact same contour as an M1 Garand stock or an M1 carbine stock. So commonality, And they said that any gun, no matter what it was before, if it had this stock on it, was a 1903 A1. So a lot of older guns, when they were refurbished, would receive such stocks. Now, the reason that guns like the Remington 1903s have the straight stock is because they had so many of those blanks already on hand. This is actually where the scant stock comes into play. It's not identical to this, but the 03 scant stock is kind of like this. They basically took a blank and they made a cutout. Instead of being a straight stock here, they kind of cut this bit out some to try to make a semi pistol grip out of what was supposed to be a straight stock for the scants. And later, the modified version of the scant would be transitioned over to the A3s, as would the straight stocks. It's kind of interesting, I thought. So those are our stock types. And so this gun fills both the Mark I roll and the A1 roll in the collection, and it's good shape. I would shoot it. It has a replacement World War II barrel, high standard, dated November of '44. So obviously it probably saw probably 2 barrel changes, I bet. The corrosive ammo at the time, combined with fighting in the Pacific, combined with non-chrome lining. So 30-06 would wear out the barrels relatively quickly, especially when cleaning wasn't always possible. So I was very happy. Kind of a neat little surprise to get the pistol grip stock. And it looks neat kind of next to a Garand because it matches it. It has a later stamped barrel band too. So it was definitely rebuilt during the war. Oh, the A2, the 1903 A2, was actually a subcaliber rifle utilized by like aiming artillery crews and such. It's kind of an interesting thing. If we can find a picture, we'll toss one up, but it was definitely a specialist's gun. And of course the A4 was the sniper rifle with the 2.5 or 2.75 optic, but I don't really collect sniper guns. I bet you can guess why. I just thought I'd share. Like I said, I was pretty happy with this. Just kind of sharing something. This is being recorded on Friday the 13th, so there we go for that too, huh? Yeah. Well, if you have some interesting variants of the 1903, we'd love to hear about them below. And if you liked the video, we'd appreciate a click. And if you'd really like to help us out, we'd appreciate it if you'd check out our Patreon page. This is just the standard straight stock, as you see. This is Misha. And we'll catch you next time.